Okay guys, Sunday the 17th of September and we are on the Australian dollar, US dollar. So I have been off for a couple of weeks. And what we're going to do is I usually go over the market in relation to the previous week's analysis. I'm just going to give you a general overview of what the market has been doing, looking at a couple of different things. And then we'll have a look at the key areas for the Australian dollar moving into next week. Okay, so when I left, I can't even remember the exact date, to be honest. I believe it was Thursday the 17th, Friday the 18th is when I stopped doing the reviews for subscribers. So the last analysis would be on the 13th of August. Okay, so a couple of different things we have seen on this market. First of all, we have continued a bullish movement up. What we went over in that analysis video was that the market had been very, very choppy. And because it had been very, very choppy, it was happy to look for both buys and sells on this market. Now we identified, or we had the reasoning for that based on a couple of different things. We were basically looking at the price action as it was moving, both bullish and bearish. We were seeing lots of tails. So even when we were making bearish movements, we were seeing strong bullish movements in the market. Even when we were making bullish movements, we were seeing strong bearish movements in the market. You can see it over and over again. The market ramps up bullish, comes back down bearish. Because of that, I was happy to look at it relatively, not as though it was in a range, but trading from key support and key resistance, it made sense. Now, when does it not make sense? It doesn't make sense if, let's say, the market is doing something like this. Pulled back. Now we went over this trending movement. If you're pulling back and then you're finding support at this level, this is where you begin to watch for that continuation. If you start to see strong bullish movements like this, on what is potentially a trending movement, it's giving you that clue that you only want to be a bull in this market. If it was a bearish trend, you'd be the opposite. Obviously, you'd be looking only for sells. It's giving you that clue. You're seeing the strong reaction, you're seeing very, very little bearish rejection on these movements. It's telling you, get out of the way. Don't try and be a bear. Don't try to be a seller in this market. You want to look for that strong trend continuation trading. Now when it's up here and it's very choppy like this, it's giving you the clue that potentially you can look for both buys and sells. Now the market, although it has pressed higher, it has not gone anywhere. Previous high was sitting at 8,065 around about. The market tried to break up on the 8th of September and it has failed and it is sitting under this level at present. Now what has the Australian dollar been doing? Well, really the only thing I've been looking at is the fact that the Australian dollar has been following a trend line, bullish trend line, bounce, 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 dragging itself up along here. And then if we come up into these levels, we're now just starting to see that little bit of rejection up here. So potentially, moving into next week now, we are seeing a bit of a price squeeze on the Australian dollar. Now we're looking at this sloping support line for a potential breakdown. If we see that breakdown, certainly if we get the retest, we're then looking for a bearish movement on the market. Now key resistance up above is obviously at these levels. You can see rejected here. The market then had a bearish movement basically from the highs of the 27th of July. We've rejected again, and then we have pressed lower. So really taking the key resistance from this level, if we do start to break up above, there's the potential there to look for pullbacks, support and continuation. We do have the rejection up at 8,125. However, if we're seeing nice breaks above here, nice closes above here, it does make sense to look for that bullish continuation. Down below, breaks of the sloping support line, that would be turning the market more bearish. It has been respecting this since really the start of June. We're now in the middle of September. So it's been bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. Even as it is dragging itself up here, it's still respecting this sloping support line. A breakdown below here would be turning this market more negative. We could then start to look at the potential for this being a double top. So key support would come in once again back down at really these levels right here. Sitting at 7840 down toward, really I'd like to take into account the previous swing here, down towards 7790. And if we come down here, potential for that support, bullish bounces. If we start to break down below here, so if we break the sloping support line, first of all, it's giving us that clue that potentially we're going to see a movement back down in the medium term to retest these levels. If we start to break down below here, again, support breaking becomes potential resistance. We'd then be looking for that move down, stronger movement down. Now we do have key support here, but if we are breaking down below this level, after rejecting up here and after breaking the sloping support line, it's likely we would then see a stronger movement down, at least towards the 7750 areas, and likely down toward around about 7700 at a minimum. Going into next week, those are really the main things I am looking at. I'm looking for a little bit more evidence, seeing what the Australian dollar wants to do. It's really coming into key resistance, that sloping support line. Medium term, it's back down toward this key level of support. Unless we start to break above, if we start to break above, we can then look for potential bullish trend continuation. Sitting underneath, you've got really two main levels of support and resistance now. This one right here, you can see all of these spikes up. This is really lining up with that sloping support line going into next week. This is really the main one you want to have on your radar. And then down below there, we're at these pins right here. Around about 7895 down toward 7870. Again, if we see the market breaking down, this would be a potential level to look for that potential support. As with this level here, if we're breaking down, potential support for a move back up to retest that sloping resistance line. We're starting to break down below this level. It's very likely we'll see the retest of that central pivot of the double top. If we're breaking down below here, we're then expecting that stronger movement down on the Australian dollar, US dollar. Okay guys, so as always, I hope that was helpful. I hope you all have a good trading week next week. I'm James Orr, and thank you.